When you log into a SharePoint site, you're able to interact with the lists, documents, and other items on the site based on the permissions that you've been assigned. SharePoint uses role-based access control, which allows SharePoint administrators to very precisely control access to sites and to items stored on sites. We're going to talk about permissions extensively later in this course, but this is just the basics so you have an understanding to get you going. There are 7 built-in permission levels in SharePoint 2016. Full control means that if you're in that role, you can do anything you want with the site, for example, or anything you want with a library that you have full control over. Designers have permissions that are a little bit more limited. They can view and add, update, delete, approve, and more importantly, they can customize the way things look. So this might be a permission level that you'd give to your web designer. The edit permission set allows users to add, edit, and delete items and documents, and to create brand new lists and delete lists if they wish. If your permission level is that of contribute, you can view things, you can add, update, and delete items and documents, but you can't create new lists or libraries, for example. You're a contributor with a little less permission than an editor has. Notice that at every step we give up a little bit more. The read permission set allows people to view pages and to view list items and to be able to look at and download documents. Limited access is the same, except with limited access it's very specific. So you have limited access, the ability to view and to read, but only in particular libraries or lists, so it's considered to be not for the entire site. And finally, there's view only, which is very much like read, except if you can view only, when there's a document that's set up to open in a browser, you'll only be able to read it there. You won't be able to download it. So we might not want people to be able to take an offline copy of something, and if that's the case, then we would assign them to that view only permission level. Out of the box, SharePoint makes it really easy to put people into 3 of these roles. Specifically, there are groups set up for security for every single site when a site's created. The first is site owners, the second, site members, and the third, site visitors, and these align with 3 of those permission sets that we just saw. Site owners have the full control permission level, which means that site owners have the ability to change the entire structure of the site. They can even delete the site. Site owners have the ability to add or remove users, to set the permissions that we just saw, and to create or delete content. Anything that can be done to a site, owners can do. Members are given the edit role, and in the edit role, they have the ability to upload, edit, and delete documents, upload, edit, and delete list items, and create, edit, and delete lists. Finally, we have folks who are visitors to sites. Visitors are given read permission, which means they can view pages, view list items, they can download documents. Although I've talked about permissions being given at the site level, that's not necessarily the case. For example, on a particular site, you may have full control of List C. You can do anything with it you wish, and even have full control of Library B, but only be able to read in Library A. So permissions can be set at the site level, and that's actually a great way to do it. Generally speaking, it's a best practice to establish permissions at the broadest level we can. So unless there's a compelling reason for you to have different permissions in Library A than in Library B than in List C, you'll probably have consistent permissions throughout a site. However, it's possible that you will go to List C and find that you can only look at it because your permissions are a little different for that aspect of this site. One more thing. There's actually another permission. It's an implied permission. Perhaps you don't have any permission at all for Library B. You don't even have the permission a visitor would have. If that's the case, you have no permission at all in Library B, then if you search for a document in that library, it won't show up in your search results because you don't even have permission to see it. There's an entire chapter on permissions later in this course, and you'll learn there how to think about permissions, how to design permissions and assign permissions. But for now, it's enough to know that your permissions are being set by a site owner or a SharePoint administrator, and your permission within SharePoint may differ from site to site or even within a site from library to list.